Topic 7, Lesson 3, Strategies for User Research. Essential idea. The designer needs to understand the behaviors, the wants, and the needs of the user. So if we take this consumer right here, looks like she's picking out a movie, like a red box type system in a grocery store, the more we know about her, the more we can specifically market our product to her needs, wants, and behaviors. Nature of design. Designers should select research strategies based on desired user experiences, the complexities of persona, and real-life scenarios that simulate actual user experiences. When we talk about persona, we're talking about that stereotypical user. Okay, it's not any one particular person, it is that description of our target market. International mindedness. User population behaviors, wants, and needs may vary from one community of potential users to another. This may result in development of a product family. So we design a product, but we know when we sell it to a different population or a different community, we need to make slight changes to it. Things need to be different. Things need to work slightly differently. Maybe it needs to be set up or look slightly differently, but it's a very similar product. That's what we call a product family. User research. Through the use of persona and user cases, the designer can build a range of possible scenarios with which to explore the problem in detail. This is oftentimes done through demos. We like to let our persona or potential users test out our products so we can then see how they use it, if they used it correctly or not, and how successful they were when they used it. Was it intuitive for them? In this case, this is a picture of Mr. Thomas was demoing some skis. This is up in Winter Park, and he's like, check me out, and boom, boom, and he just totally wipes out for no good reason and just came bailing down, and the picture came out great. You guys should all ask him about that. Strategies for user research. Designers need to consider their appropriateness in relation to user populations, a range of users for a particular product or system, and many products are designed for the use by different or multiple populations. And you as the designer need to understand who all these different groups are. So what do? We do research, we do interviews, we do demos, we have user trials. Here's our Dilbert, because most of what we learn in the world is from Dilbert. We interviewed hundreds of users and turned all of their suggestions into features. As it turns out, every user we talked to was an idiot, and their dumb suggestions ruined our product. In hindsight, we probably should have talked to people who work outside this building. Yikes. Strategies for user research. User populations can be classified into groups by age, gender, physical condition. This generates insights for design development that are particular to each group. For example, a group of users who suffer from arthritis in their wrists would have different concerns with the design of a new kettle and give different feedback than a population of students. When we talk kettle, we're talking about a teapot, which in America is not that big of a deal, but in the UK, your teapot is like your most prized possession. When you move, it's the last thing you pack, and when you get to your new house, it is the first thing you unpack. Because how else do you drink your tea? You couldn't possibly microwave the water. Strategies for user research. Designers can observe and interview members of a user population in order to create fictional characters known as persona, which are your typical stakeholders. You also have what's called secondary persona, those who are not the primary target audience for a product, but who need the product you should also meet. And you also have the anti persona, or those for whom the product is not designed. So I was thinking of an example of this. If you sell steak, let's say you're a butcher or you're a meat packing company, and you want to sell your steak. When it's sitting in the grocery store, you want it marketed in a way that the consumer is going to be attracted to it and wants to buy it. So your persona is probably going to be toward the parents, towards mom and dad who are probably doing most of the shopping. You need them to be interested. So whatever you put on your label, the colors, the designs need to be attractive to that group. Now, you make steak. You're butchering a cow. You need to make sure your steak's actually good because your secondary persona, which is probably the most of the rest of the family, is going to be eating that steak. They didn't necessarily buy it, but they certainly are involved in that product and they want it to taste good. The anti persona is going to be that kid who's a vegetarian and doesn't want the steak in the first place. You are not concerned about that student, that person, because they're not looking at your steak in the store, and even if the steak makes it home, they're not going to touch the thing. So you're not going to invest anything in them. Scenario: an imagined sequence of events in the daily life of a persona based on assumptions by researchers and designers. Okay, at this point, you're taking this persona or this stereotypical person, potential consumer of your product, you're coming up with their daily sequence of events in their lives, and you're making assumptions about them and you're trying to best understand them and figure out how to market to them. Students need to be able to consider the best, the worst, and the average case scenarios that provide a physical and social context for each persona. Okay? And I put this little napkin down here. A false assumption with action where those cross over can be scary.